Welcome back. This is Penny Roll Hunt number 663. So what I do when I start a Penny Roll Hunt, the first thing I do is I put my microphones in, I turn the lights on, I check out my channel to make sure I know what episode I'm looking at. I adjust my chair. Then I look over to the side of my desk to see which um, penny roll I'm gonna hunt. And I say to myself, do I want to do what did I do yesterday? Do I want to do a bank roll? Do I want to do a more vintage roll? Um, and I think about it for a second or two, and very complicated stuff, super deep thought. Sophocles, Plato level type of thought process here. All right, let's go with one of these. They're staring me in the face. Now I know that some people, I have gotten this comment on my. Oh man, nothing. What a drug caffeine is, man. Let me tell you. Whoever, well, they didn't invent caffeine, right? Caffeine's in the beans, and I'll tell you a little story about caffeine after. So, all right, so I got a bunch of things going on. That's number one. All right, so those of you who are steady viewers of the channel will remember the crazy glue um 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 will remember the crazy glue and somebody I guess died, and they used to crazy glue the ends of their. That's one way to do it, right? Is to crazy glue it. So I've been told that some people listen to my videos in the morning. The first person who told me that is my longest standing member, Eric. He is the reason for all of those of you who enjoy watching my videos at the same time every day. You can give a subscribe to Keen Eye Collectibles. That's my longest standing member, Eric. And also shout out to my newest member, um, Keanu Kobe. But Keen Eye Collect, and shout out to all my members, right? Terry and Sandra. And again, Keen Eye Collectibles, Eric. He said, "Oh, I wake up in the morning and I listen to your channel before I go to work." And then as the years have gone by, other people say, "Oh, I listen to your channel on the way to work." Other people have said, "I listen to your channel as I coin roll hunt." And I always thought that was pretty cool. All I need is like a million people to do that now. And I could probably pay I have a very small mortgage. Um, we were one of the lucky ones who got the house when the interest rates were low and houses were cheap. Okay, so we got lucky with that. Oh, meaning that, yeah, if I had a million viewers, I'd probably be able to pay the mortgage with that. 64. All right, our first copper. So some people do that. So I always thought that was pretty cool that I got that message, those comments from people that they that they listened to my videos in the background while they were either driving or coin roll hunting, penny roll hunting. So yeah, coffee is caffeine is a drug, right? Coffee in itself is not necessarily addicting because, of course, they have decaf, which has it does have a certain percentage of caffeine in it. They use a certain process. No, white AM. They use a certain process by which to remove the caffeine from either the coffee bean or the ground up coffee bean. No, white AM. And but if you anybody out there who does psychology, who's read a DSM, knows that caffeine addiction is one of the copper penny number 2 knows that caffeine addiction is one of the DSM. I really thought that this was a copper penny. Is a DSM a diagnostic diagnosis, and goes up to severe, and there's all types of behaviors associated with it that can be pretty serious. They have certain diets. I remember there's certain diets associated with getting off of caffeine, and copay number 3. And um, horrible, horrible, horrible. I did it a couple times, and the first day, like after the first day, you have a headache that feels like someone's hitting you in the head with a sledgehammer. Copay number 4. And then on the second day, you feel like you're walking around on another planet that has where your weight is like an extra 100 pounds, and that could go on for months and months and months. You just don't feel your same. And then as soon as you have start having coffee again, you start feeling normal again. Died then. So I try not to. And then, of course, having too much coffee, you could start feeling sick and stuff like that. So I try not to have too much coffee. I have my 1 cup in the morning. Sometimes I'll have a second cup in the afternoon. But if I have a third cup, then I sometimes I won't feel well. I won't sleep well, or things like that. Um, then sometimes the second cup of coffee will be decaf. Cup penny number 5. Yeah, so all these chemicals, you have to be careful with putting them into your body. Any chemical, really, even the ones that come from nature, caffeine, nicotine, right? All those teens, right? Enes, all those enes. A lot of enes. Yeah, they're all bad for you. All that stuff is bad for you. Oh, chewed up on one side. Yeah, I guess it has some marks on the other side. Some very interesting. Let me have let me have a sip of coffee. I'll drink to that. But someone who's never drank coffee, coffee tastes like crap. My son doesn't drink coffee. What happens with a lot of Hispanics is, especially if you grew up in a poor household, which which I did. Copper pain number 7 is that the older people drank coffee religiously. It didn't matter um, what season it was, and in the wintertime, little kids wanted something warm, like hot chocolate, but you might not be getting hot chocolate, you know, in a poor household. So they made a bigger pot of coffee, like, the kid had a cup of coffee. And that was it, The kid got used to drinking coffee. 6, 7 years old, you were drinking coffee. And if you really like, and if you were a girl and you maybe in the summertime you started hanging out with grandma in the kitchen and you would drink coffee too, a little cup of black coffee, and that's it. You were drinking coffee. And if you were a boy when you started working, and if you living in New York, especially in the 80s, that's campaign number 9. If you're broke, right? Minimum wage in the 80s was my first job. I got paid $3, and I got 18 cents in my head. I think it was $3. Burger King, $3.18. So that was like, I mean, even back then, you would think that, maybe back then that was a lot of money. It was not. It was nothing. Even back then, it was nothing. It's not like like in the 50s, if you made, I don't know, I'm just going to make this up, 5 cents. 5 cents might have been a lot of money in the 50s, but $3 in the 80s was not. There was a difference in the inflation and all that. It was garbage. That was 10 copper pennies already. Anyway, my point is that coffee was cheap also, right? Like there were places where you got like a big cup of coffee for a coffee and a roll for $1, and that was it, man. You were done for breakfast. You know, you didn't have to. It cost $1 to get on the train. So $2 you got on the train and you had a cup of coffee. Some nice looking 2002, huh? So we found our 10 copper pennies. See, these older penny rolls, man. See, it has the crazy glue on both sides. See, if I want to reuse this, I could. I'm not going to reuse it because I have plenty of. I hold on to the old penny wrappers. Zinc. So anyway, it's pretty cool that people listen to the show while they're doing other things. I think that's pretty cool. Cop paint number 11. Penny roll hunting is definitely a fun activity. Number 12. You get lucky every once in a while. Obviously I'm not paying nearly as close attention as I should be because I'm having a conversation with you guys out there. What I will say is that I do put the copper pennies to the side, and during my short videos, I give it a second look to the copper pennies, right? So there is a second chance, and I do 10 short videos. So we already have 12 copper pennies. I'm not going to look at this. I'm not going to look at this one, right? So I'll put that one to the side there. That's a nice one. I'm not going to look at this one, even though this is one that would probably generate interest. But I'm not going to look at it. So I'm gonna take the 10 best copper pennies, and I'll give it a second look, right? And who knows, maybe one of those copper pennies will have an error that I missed, and I'll put it in a flip. So that's the method to my madness 2023. No, it should be. And yeah, sure enough, man, these penny rolls have been getting us about 10, 11, 12 copper pennies um consistently, and that's a lot. So it tells me they're pretty, even though there's been 2023, 2024, 2025 copper pennies in them. Excuse me, zinc cents in them. I wonder if that's a string strike through, if that's just a scratch. Go straight through the whole penny. I'll look at it later. I think that's like number 14 or 15 and a 97. Okay, so again, episode 663. For those of you who are still here after 60 minutes, thank you. I really appreciate. Special thank you to all of you who watch my long videos, my penny roll hunts to the end. I try to make a plea sometimes in my short videos, and sometimes people say something else to me. And sometimes I say interesting facts or something like that at the end of the video. But so interesting fact, in case I forget as I get closer, I will not do the video between 664 and 667. I will not do that video for obvious reasons. You do not give power or acknowledgement to certain people. You keep them out of your life. You ignore them to a certain degree. Evil. I guess you don't ignore them, but you don't focus on them. Because that's what they want. They want you to focus on them. You want to focus on Christ. You don't want to You follow what I'm saying? You want to be aware of evil, but keep them outside of your circle, right? Your focus needs to be on Christ. Christ protects you from evil, right? Your focus is on Christ. And if your focus is not on evil, Christ protects you from evil, right? Evil wants you to focus on Christ. That way, evil wants you to focus on them. So your focus is not on Christ, right? So that's very simple things. And evil wants to complicate things, right? Remember, if they can't beat you, they try to confuse you. So you keep it simple. Just focus on Christ. A lot of times what I hear people talk, oh, if you're a theologist, and again, I keep a lot of this stuff at the end of the video. That way, because the focus of the video is penny roll hunting. So most people have checked out already after 5-10 minutes. So this is really for the deeper thinkers and the hardcore subscribers. I hear people sometimes talking about if you're a theologist, if you're a scholar, you're going for your PhD, that's all fine and dandy. But if you've never even read the New Testament and you're talking about, oh yeah, I just read Isaiah. I find that deeply disturbing. Personally, I have to tell you, if you don't know the words of Christ and you're talking about the words of somebody, of anybody else, that's the work of the devil. He just wants you to focus on anything else besides the words of Christ. That's the work of the anything else, anything. He does not want you to hear the words. Is his number one goal is to separate you from Christ. If there's anything that you're going to read, it's the words of Christ. Read the New Testament. Read it. You can read it over and over. Listen to it. I know a lot of people say they listen to me while they're doing other stuff. Yeah, that's great. But if you're going to do that, also, the first thing hopefully you've listened to the audiobook of Christ, and you should own it. I've listened to it so many times. It's awesome. It always uplifts my heart, my soul. But that's it. Focus on Christ. If you focus on Christ, everything else is much. It's just so simple. It's so simple, and it's in such a complicated world. Um, you have to wonder, what forces are at work that are trying to complicating things when something. It's like, oh, how do you make bread? Oh, you add water, salt, yeast, and you and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, how'd you mess that up? Oh, I did. Why'd you do that for? You ever see people that they're always complicating things. So why'd you do that for? It was so simple. Or you tell someone, hey, go to the store and hey, can you go to the store and get me a loaf of bread? Okay, but yeah, we're gonna make sandwiches. The game starts in 5 minutes. Can you go to the store? They come back an hour later. They have no bread. What happened? Oh, it's like, what's wrong with you? I gave you $5 to get a loaf of bread. The game's starting in 5 minutes. We've been sitting here waiting for you. Don't be that person, man. And the same thing goes with understanding Christ. It's very simple. You listen to Christ, you follow his words. That's it. It's the most simple recipe ever. If you hear someone saying something other than the words of Christ, don't listen to them. Right? If you know the recipe to making bread and you hear someone else say, "Yeah, do this and do that," don't listen to them. If you know the route, what's the quickest route? The quickest route between 2 points, a straight line, right? If someone's telling you that to get from A to B, and they're telling you to zigzag or to do something, don't listen to them. Anyway, that's all I got. God bless, and I'll see you in the next one.